man, I want to first start with, I mean, we've been really grinding at this podcast thing. I think it's crazy in the sense of like, we're already at almost 70 episodes. And, it initially started from just like, hey, bro, we need to do this. It was never with like an intention of like quitting. We knew the importance of like having a podcast, like building a brand, building an audience. And earlier this week, we had Brad Lee on, well-respected business leader, high-level entrepreneur. What?
Pipe bombs. Is it drop pipe bombs?
That's some terrorist stuff.
No,
right
bro, that's
there.
on the WWE, CM Punk.
Oh,
He's always
okay.
doing pipe bombs. So every time I hear that, I'm always like,
Brad Lee, he drops bombs.
Yeah.
But this is somebody years ago, like, was on my radar. I'd watch their content, watch their podcast, and it's interesting. I don't like using the word crazy because things really aren't crazy when you put in the work.
Right.
Maybe it's mind blowing in the sense of like, all right, we're already at the place to where we're gaining traction to have these type of higher level entrepreneurs come in and build a relationship with them. Paul Getter, Brad Lee, and all the other guests, that we've had that have such, I'd say more clout than we do, but being able to host and bring them onto our podcast has been probably what I personally believe the most valuable thing for us in building our business because of the conversations we have before the podcast, the relationship that we build afterwards with the podcast. And I just think it's crucial. I used to think everybody should have a podcast.
You changed?
I changed.
Man,
I switched it up because there's some people that just maybe let me revise it. You have to. I think it's having a podcast is super important because of the awareness, and especially if you drive it in your niche. It also depends on the type of podcast.
Yeah.
And I know some people do like limited podcasts, right? Like they do it for like a limited time, like Michelle Obama.
Was she a limited one?
Yeah, like she started a podcast and the numbers were trash. And so I think like she had a few different episodes. She brought Barry on and then like she stopped doing it, right? Like certain businesses and brands will do that for like a rollout or anything like, something big they're working on. Yeah. So I think that's necessary, but I don't think everybody is like a media personality. I'm not even saying I'm a media personality. I love doing this. I love these conversations because these are conversations we have. Cameras just on us and we have microphones on. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say everyone should have a podcast. I think everyone should go onto a podcast.
100%.
That I will say.
And that's really the cheat code.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can get guest spots on to talk about that, you don't have to deal with all of the preparation and setting up and finding a location, a studio to build in. I mean, really, there's so many different ways and elements that you can do, but the value that you have when it comes to building a brand, like a big brand, like if you're a small business and like that's all you want to be, like I don't feel it being as necessary.
Right.
But when you have a message, when you want to build something big,
but even like the small business, that's why I'm like, you should still tell your story. Like you should go
100%.
on, like, who's the homie, Akbar, his story. Yeah, his story. Shout out Akbar, but his story how he had the mattress, right, and he went to he went on to a podcast and no one was listening, and he got his first big deal. Yeah. And so it's like I think it helps market who you are, it tells your story, and helps your brand as a whole. So I think everyone should go onto a podcast to talk. Right, even if you're shy or not. If you're a business owner, you're not gonna be shy.
Right. You shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be, man. If you are shy,
well,
Yeah, I know, man. But what I guess my point is like, for you to be like, it's another marketing strategy.
It is,
right?
Yeah.
And so it's like you're building your brand. You're letting people know more about your story, who you are, who you serve, what you're doing, right? And so I think everyone should go onto it, but to host is different beast, man. Yeah. That's the grit, man. Brad Lee, how many episodes he was saying that he before he got big, how many
5
episodes?
5 years.
Yeah, but he's been
700 episodes.
Yeah, he did like 700-800 episodes before like anyone even saw. That's like I don't know how many putting out a week. If it's one a week, that's crazy. That's 800 and some weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why I just want people to understand the consistency, like how long it takes for you to even blow up. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't expect, like, because podcasts will pop up out of nowhere, but it's kind of like those, you know, people will say like an artist is an industry plant. Like there's so much behind a podcast that blows up, right? Like there's so much of like the infrastructure that you don't see, rather than, you know, like the Joe Budden podcast, right? Like that's like a notorious like hip hop podcast,
right.
But they didn't start from where they're at now, where they have their own network and they've been on different networks and they had a Spotify deal. Like they would do it at Parks' house. Shout out to anybody that knows the JVP podcast. But like they would just do it in the house and it was just all organic, and people loved it because it was just authentic. It was funny. It was real. And then it blew up into what it is now. But I was listening to it back in 2016, and people been knowing about it back then. And so like they started, I think like 2013, 2012. So like the whole point is, if you want to build an audience, you got to do it consistently over time. It's not a flash in the pan. The flash in the pan have hundreds of millions of dollars backing them because somebody's investing into that media personality. Like what's his name? Speedy?
Actual Speed.
No, not Actual Speed, but Speedy. Like I don't know who he is, and I'm not hating on him, but he popped out of nowhere. I don't know what he does. But he interviews people like DJ Khaled. I think he's part of Complex.
Oh, he's I think I know who you're
light
talking
skin,
about.
black
light
dude.
skin. Yeah, LeBron was on there. Steph Curry. Bro, he came out of nowhere.
And so a lot of times people think they get into the podcast game. It's like, oh well, he came out of nowhere, without understanding like there's different levels to it. Like where we're at doesn't mean we can't get to that. We're just doing it organic. We don't have the backing of millions of dollars for media dollars and advertisements and pushing towards the algorithm and buying views and stuff like that.
You know how it works, man. But yeah, man.
But this is my favorite thing that we do. Like I love like helping businesses. I love working. I love grinding. But if I could do just this.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I would do this.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, the events, bro. The events is my favorite. So I don't know why, man. Just gathering people is my favorite. But I like this just because it's hard to do. Because, like, you're on spot all the time. You got to pivot. The conversation might not go the way you wanted it to go. You might have said a joke that it didn't resonate. So you got to learn to pivot, and it teaches you that. And so, man, if you look back at our first podcast to now, bro, we were so structured. At least we thought we were structured. And half the stuff that we prepared for, we didn't even use. And so same thing in life and business, man. It's good to be prepared, but whatever you do is probably not going to happen exactly the way you want. You just got to roll with the punches. You got to roll with it, and then you'll get used to rolling with the punches, and that's what life's about. You get used to pivoting, changing, being put on the spot. You get used to pressure, right? But you got to get pressed. You got to get in those uncomfortable situations. And so a podcast, if you're thinking about it, if you feel like you're charismatic, you can do it. Start it.
Yeah, do
right?
it.
But don't expect everyone to look. I think how many views we had in our first video?
I have no idea.
Man, I remember that when I
tried to block that out of my memory.
I was like, man, we only got I think it was like 5 to 10, man. I was like, I don't care. I'm happy.
That's the win.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Like it was good enough
to
get started, but that's why people like in life, that's whatever your starting point is. Like that's the measuring stick. So you always want to just increase from there. Now we're almost 70 episodes in. If we watch this episode and the next episode, or not next episode, the first one, completely different, night and day. And that's the whole point of doing things over and over and over again, strategizing. Hey, how can we get better? What can we do differently? But that's what life is.
But it's crazy too, man. Like our podcast is what opened the door for us.
That's what I'm saying. That's the value of having a podcast. The doors being open.
Bro, like it took, through like Paul Getter, shout out Paul Getter again, but like he opened a huge door for us, right? Not just for connections, but the way we're doing Crown now is a lot different just because of Paul Getter. And it was like, hey, come speak about your life, Paul. He loves to do it. And so he came on, but afterwards he was like, he invited us to his event. He gave us access. It's like that relationship was built, what you're talking about. And now, like Bradley, I'm just excited what God's gonna do, what God's gonna open, what we're gonna see through this relationship, But
absolutely,
if you're trying to grow a brand, a business, dude, have people love talking about themselves. Invite them to talk about themselves. We started out with testimonies, right? And now we pivot and we don't even do testimonies really. We just talk.
I think we still hit it. We hit it.
Yeah.
But we do it in a different way, so it's more conversational rather than, hey, tell me about your life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that way it's more engaging for everybody else. But yeah, man, like that's why they say proximity is power. And like podcasting has been such a great tool for getting around that proximity of people that are doing things that we didn't even think of doing it in the manner and how they do it, right? Like Paul Getter.
Right.
Like going and being invited to his event and then being able to speak at his event.
Yeah.
And then being around his team and just watch and ask questions on how they do things, what their organizational structure is, like their pricing, all of that like impacted us more than the interview. The interview was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's what comes after that, right? Man. And so, you know, bottom line, just
if you're thinking about it, do the podcast.
Do it.
But if you don't want to do a podcast, we'll go on to the podcast. You don't
absolutely.
Host it, so.
But use it as a tool.
Yeah.
Use it as a tool for what you're already doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I love it, man. You know, I because you mentioned you will get put on the spot. Yesterday when we were talking to Brad.
Oh man, there were some moments.
He asked me. He said, "What's your weaknesses?" I was like, "Brad, come on, I'm not on your." Because on his podcast, like he's a no BS guy. I'm like, bro, don't put me on the spot right now. And so I'm like, okay. But that's what makes it good. That's what makes it engaging. You know, that's what like being honest, be authentically you. Yeah, because when you get put on the spot and you can be real about it, like. That's what people want to know.
Shaq talks about that his first like month with TNT at the time, right? If you watch that, he was like, like Dr. Shaq. He was saying things with like mannerisms. It wasn't even him. You could tell it wasn't him.
Yeah.
And they kind of talked about Ernie. It was like, bro, you gotta just be yourself. And as soon as he started like making the jokes, Shaq and the Fool and all these things, like not like that show is like one of the best basketball shows of all time, you know. But it's just like be yourself, man. And that's. For us, that's what we've learned, even this podcast. Like, it's not easy, but just be yourself. People want to know that it's okay to mess up. Yeah, that's all people want to know.
Not even that, but just like being different. Because we all have different personalities, quirks, how we communicate. But just be you, and that's what makes it fun. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I love it, man. There's been a lot of different stuff going on in the world. I don't know if we want to talk about that. I'm you know, I haven't been going down any crazy rabbit holes recently, if anybody's been wondering. So I'm not coming from that perspective. But you know, everything that's going on with the Iran war and Israel, Iran, America.
Man, it's getting ugly. It's getting ugly.
It's man, I see the ushering in. I know we always talk about that, like,